All right. Now there's sound. That's
Okay,
another thing
can you
we
guys
fixed.
hear us now?
Yes, they can hear us now. So, guys,
Okay, sorry. So,
as we've said,
here we go.
we have just bought another camera to fix this fucking issue. Like a new camera. It is on the way. It is not here yet. This will be the last week you have to deal with garbage quality. We have also changed our microphone over because people were complaining the sound was too low. Every issue that you could have with a live stream, we've had it.
But, you know, I kind of enjoy when it happens, to be honest.
I don't enjoy it, Sam.
I find it funny to be like, yay, woo, professional YouTubers. And they're like, we got no idea what the fuck we're doing. We're going live. And everyone just has a great time memeing it and probably clipping it.
If anyone would like to offer us a TV show,
We would do
World
well.
style, we would definitely agree to sell out on that.
I actually would totally do that. Okay?
That's right.
Totally.
So
let's start with the news. So yesterday, actually, we covered the whole GTA casino thing, all right?
Yes.
The whole diamond thing. If you watched the episode, you saw the opening meme. I think that sums it up pretty well. It is going to be interesting because I think certain regions, which we have now seen more and more people come out and say, are experiencing different rules and regulations inside the game in terms of this shark card you can't buy in-game currency.
£50.
Wow, Rams, man. Thank you very
amazing.
much.
Thank you very much.
So glad we went back online. That's fantastic. I appreciate that.
Thank you very
Good
much,
man.
Rams.
Hey, just making journalism funny and informative. Thank you so much.
Did you just call us games journalists?
Oh my god.
So offensive.
Oh my god.
Oh, Jesus, Sam. Oh my god.
This is really not
What
going
else
well.
could go wrong in this stream?
Okay, here we go. Okay, so a lot of people were experiencing in certain regions, yes, you could use your shark cards to actually purchase the game chips. Others said you could not, okay? It was a gated system that if you did, in fact, have the shark card in-game purchases, they could not be converted into chips. It's been an interesting thing because, you know, usually with any story that breaks, it's pretty clear in terms of where everyone stands and what is factually correct and what is not factually correct. This, in this instance, people are actually coming out and saying, no, you know, the media is wrong or YouTubers are wrong. And then other people are like, no, they're correct. This is exactly what I'm actually experiencing.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting little topic to rediscuss.
Yeah. So there was this video here that basically put to rest the idea that you can, in fact, purchase chips in Grand Theft Auto with shark cards. So this guy, what he's doing here, he has no money. He's walking into the casino, and then he just boots up the menu to be able to show that he's, you know, buying in-game currency. Buys it on the store.
Yep, so he's got 100,000 now.
And then he walks up straight to the counter and then bues chips. Right.
There you go.
So that really is definitive proof that in at least some regions you can do that. Now we know for a fact that that has been blocked in other regions. You can't do that, and in other regions the entire casino is blocked, so you're not allowed to do it. There was like 50 countries plus that have blocked this casino, and we'll rephrase that. This is actually a case of Rockstar themselves have not implemented it in those regions. It's not like those countries have like gone in and said, we're issuing you an order, Rockstar, you're not allowed to do this. Rockstar looked at the local laws and said, should we do this or should we not? And so they are basically at this point like probably the most well-versed in global gambling legislation in the world. They're probably global leaders in gambling legislation understanding.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's make this also very clear. I don't think it's them morally going, well, that actually doesn't fit with their laws, so look, we don't want to cause any trouble. They're like, we don't want to get our fucking pantsuit off, so we're not even going to try this, okay? So, interesting. I didn't know, actually, that it was a case where the casino was still shut down. I thought it was a case where you just couldn't, you could still experience the new content, but the act of going in there and using shark cards to...
No, because the new content is... it's the new content is entirely about the casino.
Sure.
So if your country does not allow this, then you don't have access to any of the new missions or any of the new stuff. It's totally different.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I thought you had access to the new missions, but you could not experience the actual in-game money chip thing. But
In-game money chip thing.
In-game money chip thing. So
that's the news. That's confirmed that. So because we had a lot of comments being at us in the thing, like, you guys don't know shit. You guys are the worst. Stupid clickbaiters. We're like, actually, here's some proof.
9 times out of 10, you are correct. But
9 times out of 10.
today, Laymen was actually correct. Andy Baltz, thank you very much for the $1. No comment needed. Just the $1. Appreciate you. Love you. But in the comment section, like, are you guys... has anyone jumped on here and actually played GTA and experienced this, and they are, in fact, finding out that they can do this?
Yeah, we don't know what the specific legislation is in Australia. Australia is like the world's global leader in gambling losses.
400 rubles. I don't know how much that is, but...
I don't know. Thank you very much, my friend.
Thank you.
Welcome. I don't know any Russian. Nazdarovya. So I guess,
Whatever that means, we appreciate
to your health,
you.
I believe.
Oh, good.
So yeah, we actually don't know. In Australia, we love gambling. We are literally like some of the world's leaders in gambling losses per capita.
Yeah,
I think Australia
$1,000.
is actually number one. Like per capita, Australians lose $1,000 a year on gambling.
Yeah.
So we're like just disgustingly
And there's
addicted.
23 million of us or something. And
I
not to
reckon-
mention, I think we actually make up 16% of the global pokey footprint.
Those slots machines.
Slots
right?
machines.
So I reckon our thing like it bans every game ever if it has like a little bit of sex, a little bit of
Totally.
drugs. But I reckon if it's gambling, our sort of like ratings at no worries, mate. Gambling, bring it
But
in,
like,
mate.
what's
no
the problem?
worries.
Taxes. Let's do it.
6-1 odds on the Metascore for this
Yeah.
one, boys. What do you reckon? So that's the first story of the day. This leads into the second story, which is actually just about what this update costs in terms of microtransactions. Now, it's always been very clear that Grand Theft Auto, it's a pretty grindy game. Thank you very much, Brad Brexit.
Oh.
It's been pretty clear that it's a very grindy game. It's very much about grinding it forever or paying to win with the shark cards and whatever. It's very much an economy of like, hey, you probably can't get all the things that you want unless you play it all the time, so just spend some money with us. Someone's calculated the fact that it takes about $800 worth of real life money to be able to buy all of the things that are available in this update. GTA Modder posted the summary on what stuff is in the new casino DLC. Their figure puts it at categories, which according to the user will cost the following. Casino and styles, 8 million. Clothes, $14 million on
There better
clothes.
be some damn good clothes for $14 million, man.
Correct. We're coming to that, by the way. Wolfenstein, we've got a story on that. Stick around. Decorations, 7.2 million. Tattoos, 1.5 million.
Jesus.
Vehicles, $28 million.
Dora.
And vehicle mods, $3
billion. 3 billion. No, 3 million.
So that's a lot of moolah.
That is a lot of moolah, and
$800 is
it's hard to really know though when these things are all. I mean, look, it doesn't take into account, of course, someone that probably has a lot of money anyway. So in terms of playing GTA, but if you're a fresh new player, I'm guessing that these are actually quite accurate figures. And I mean, if we talk about GTA, like that has definitely been the guinea pig of how much an online game can really push the bounds of like monetization, and it's been like, again, like as we said yesterday, GTA is like the mothership of gaming. Casuals know it, casuals play it, every news outlet loves to make a story about GTA, so it's always been in the headlines, and to see that $800, man, that's a lot of money.
It's almost like we're desensitized to it, though, don't you reckon? Like,
I agree.
realistically, it's like, we're like $800. COD is like $1,000 if you want to buy all the shit in COD.
All the red dots.
$800 is a bargain. You know what I mean? Like,
no, so true though. If that was actually to come out of nowhere now in a unmonetized, gaming industry like we have, we would be like, wow, that's the biggest story of the year. Yeah. Now it's just a Laymen live dump. Like,
that's right. Now it doesn't even make a story.
It doesn't even make headlines as the main story.
It's basically, if anything is Laymen dump material, it's the lowest category of news. It's just bargain basement, Friday news dump. Just terrible. If any of your news items appear on Laymen Live, you've really hit rock
exactly
bottom.
Right.
So that's it. Andy Williams, thank you very much for that, my dude.
Thanks, dude.
Okay, so next story, as we canter through them, is Cyberpunk religious controversy explained.
Yeah.
So this is one that
we were going to
actually
do a story on this because before it all came out of the it all kind of washed through that it was in fact not as juicy as we thought it would be. But anyway, let's start with how it actually firstly emerged.
Yeah. So the way this worked is that obviously there's lots of interviews happening about Cyberpunk at the moment with CD Projekt Red, all hail.
Yeah.
And they're Polish. They speak Polish. So then people try and translate that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
An interview between CD Projekt Red and Polish news site Gry Online WP.
I love them.
That's a great name.
I always look at their stuff.
Recently translated into English on the video game message board NeoGAF. The translation reported one quote attributed to CD Projekt Red Quest director Thomas. I actually met him at E3, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, I met him
nice.
when I was there. That says CD Projekt Red will not avoid any subject, even if they may offend the sensitivity of some. This includes subject like Christianity, which the translation claim would have its own in-game faction. So, look, at a high level, I think it's pretty good that a game is willing to tackle issues and doesn't worry too much about offending people. In the sense that, like, if they've got a story to tell, they want to make their own points, that's what their right is as like art. It's not like a movie would say, oh, we're not gonna, well, I'm sure they probably would in 2019.
Yeah.
But like ideally you'd want to be in a situation where people are willing to be courageous about what they're putting out there and being like, listen, maybe we'll offend some people, but that's just life, man. We've got a story to tell, and that's how we're going to do it, you know?
I think some of my... like Bioshock Infinite was one of my favourite games I've ever played. And then if you look at Far Cry 5, you know, it's very religiously heavy in terms of what it's trying to say. Now, of course, it doesn't go out and name Christianity, fine, but it's all very much about the cult and stuff. And I think that can be really fantastic content to touch on when you are wanting to make a game and wanting to make a statement. So I would hate to think that we got to a stage where, you know, we were so sensitive that we couldn't talk about actual issues or maybe a religion and kind of unpack that in a game and make some statements about that, you know? So when I saw that, I was like, cool, that's great. There's nothing wrong, you know, even if I was a hardcore Christian or a hardcore whatever, right?
I thought you were a hardcore Christian, Sam.
Which I'm not, to be honest. But like,
at all.
At all. Like, I haven't been to church.
What's the opposite of Christianity, people? That's what Sam is.
It's unchristianity. There we go. I'm going to coin that word. So anyway, when I saw that, I was actually quite happy to see that, you know?
So this then obviously moved along in terms of the story. And here's what they actually said when it was clarified. And with a proper translation, more effort put into the translation. They said, you mentioned religion. Does it exist? Yes, in many forms. As I mentioned, our vision is somewhat based on the real world. Any religion is a very important part of the latter, society-wise. In our game, we're going to see examples of Christianity and its different branches, or religions from the East. This guy says, sounds controversial. Someone will enter a church to cause havoc. So he's sort of thinking like, hey, maybe someone will go into a church. Like, you know those videos of Red Dead where people would just punch feminists?
Yeah, of course.
Like, I'm sure
that guy got taken off.
That guy got taken off big time.
He did.
YouTube did not like that.
No.
So then this guy responds, the quest director says, we don't want to avoid religion as a topic. Authenticity of the world is what counts for us. Technically, the situation you mentioned is possible, but this is all about the choices made by the player. We won't encourage a player to do so. In our quests, which involve religious themes, we make sure there's no disrespect. So, look, at the same time, this is also fine. Like, it's okay for them to say, we have chosen that we are trying to be respectful towards something. That's also okay. They're like not mutually exclusive. It's like, obviously we're saying before, it's like, it's cool that they're embracing the idea that they're being fearless, but simultaneously, if they choose to want to show more respect to a topic, that's also okay. Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't need to be one way or the other. It's their art. It's their thing that they're doing, so they're allowed to decide the terms of that, you know?
Definitely. Thank you, Nitro. Love to see you again, man. Yes. That's our mod. He's the best dude ever. Look, I do think that, you know, when you are trying to not be disrespectful, at the same time make a statement or an interesting statement or maybe some sort of controversial thing in any way, shape or form, even though we're not sure if that's what they will do in the story, it does become a bit more nuanced.
I think as well, he makes a very important point about, like, you could go into a church and, like, shoot up the place. Do you know what I mean? It's not like they've blocked the means of doing that. So they are allowing the player that choice. They're not trying to lock it down so that those sorts of things can't happen. And I guarantee you some of the first videos that you see will be people going into churches and just shooting people up. Do you know what I mean? Like, that will happen now. If that sort of thing is what he's described as being possible, it will certainly happen.
I can't remember back to the GTA. I don't remember any churches you could walk into. I don't know.
In GTA?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there might be.
Actually.
The point I'm trying to make is I wonder if this is already a precedent being set in terms of religious areas and other games that you could go in and make a in-game statement. I don't actually know. But, you know, I hope that we do see in this game a little bit of a fearlessness that I like.
I definitely want to see that.
I want to see that. I want to see them talk about real issues and not feel like they have to, like, pussyfoot around it. Like, it's nice when a vision has a bit of courage behind it and says, look, this might annoy some people, but really we're trying to tell a story and we're not trying to be disrespectful to any religion, you know, but we want to say something.
Even that example of the whole, like, trans topic, like, they are tackling that issue. They had a trans poster up at one point in some marketing.
Sure.
And everyone lost their minds. It's like, oh, it's so disrespectful. It's like, it's a trans poster.
Yeah.
They're talking about how corporations are exploiting, you know, like, trans people for, like, marketing purposes, the way that corporations currently do that with Pride Month or whatever else.
Yeah,
so, like,
they do.
We're so pride, you know, we love all you guys, and then
I've seen the best memes on that, like, Olympic, like, person throwing that thing at the end of Pride Month, you know, the corporations like just throwing it away.
Yeah.
No, it's so true. It does get used. So look, I mean, that's a perfect example, and people like jumped on it saying they're transphobic. Well, no, if you really like stop to think about what we don't even know exactly what they're going to be saying on that, but people see one photo and people just blow up, you know? Perfect example where they're not even really saying anything yet about what they're going to say about Christianity. They're not saying anything yet, but yet there's still headlines like popping up everywhere, you know? So all I'm saying is I'm hopeful that we do see a meaningful and a courageous, in some way, story that includes some real stuff that's going on in current society.
Definitely.
That'd be good.
I think we missed some donations.
Oh,
we
thank
got,
you.
Ander van Dongen.
Dongen.
That's a very Dutch name. Welcome, I do. Thank you very much.
Netherlands.
And,
I was there last year. One of my favourite places ever, man. Amsterdam.
Nice,
love it.
I've been there
I think it's
before.
much better than Holland, and you know that Dutch place is terrible.
And
we made that joke the other day.
We
Thought I'd
did,
make it
Sam.
again.
Well done, mate. Reusing material. TNT Fishing Australia. That's
Oh,
also a cool
Fishing
name.
Australia.
Fishing Australia.
Love you, mate.
Monster Hunter Review World. So hooked. I'm glad to hear you doing that, man. That's awesome. Looking forward to the expansion, which I think is out on September 13th for Iceborne. So we'll be checking that out. Yes, we're going to come to MechWarrior. Don't worry, team. We've got you covered. Don't worry. We've got all the drama. The last thing we'll say on CD Projekt Red today, good guy CD Projekt Red.
Yep.
They did clarify this week that we are not going to be seeing any pre-order bonuses for CD Projekt for Cyberpunk. You are going to be able to purchase special editions of the game that have extra like physical stuff, but in-game content there's no pre-order bonuses. And they said this exchange that happened with this guy. He said basically, no, we don't do that. Every person that buys the game gets exactly the same in-game content, no matter if they put pre-orders on release date or 2 years later. I mean, come on now. Good guy, CD Projekt Red. Is there anything they do that's wrong?
Yeah, I was just going to...
Question mark.
When we saw this, I thought to myself, isn't it interesting that we're currently in, you know, a space in gaming where they're like, you know, everyone applauds them for not giving anything extra, you know? Like, there's so much... Pre-order is such a dirty word now because it is attached to, like, you know, bait and switches or just stuff that they, you know, say you're going to get and ends up just being garbage or whatever, like the duffel kerfuffle. Or whatever,
kerfuffle.
you know, and it's interesting to see a company saying we're not offering you anything more if you want to buy pre-order, and everyone's like, yeah, I'm not getting anything else, yes, you know, and people fucking love that shit. But also, Andrew Boltz, love you, man. What do you say?
Don't like the art that don't consume the art. Censoring doesn't help. Yes. Also, I love getting off work on Friday for this.
Yeah, perfect.
Good on you, mate. So that's that story. Not really much else to say on that except good guy, Geraldo, we love you.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the big one that I know is in the chat today. MechWarrior 5 going Epic Games exclusive. I've
never played this game before.
I played MechWarrior back in the day. I mean, I'm talking...
Did we have a copy of it at home?
Yeah,
when
we
were
did.
Kids? I might have played it then, but maybe...
We did. I forget which number I played, but I remember not really liking it very much because I was more of a Terra Nova guy. Anyone remember Terra Nova? I think it was actually made by Looking Glass.
Is this like not Jap Zone of Enders?
No. This is like really grounded, heavy, like they're like tanks, but bipedal tanks.
Okay.
It's like imagine fighting with Metal Gear Rex.
Yeah, cool.
Something like that.
Yeah,
you know?
cool.
It's like that.
So it's non-Jap. Well, I mean that's still Jap.
It's not Japanese.
No, in terms of Metal Gear,
there's lots of overlap,
Jap,
but my point is that it's not like fighting Gundam robots.
Yes.
It's much slower, more sort of like bulky. They do feel and operate more like tanks than like those big flying anime robots.
Sure.
Basically, TLDR, it's gone Epic Games exclusive. Yeah, what can you say? Like they did say that they've made this decision. It comes out in December. I said our partnership with Epic Games Store allows us the opportunity to make sure MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries meets our internal goal of creating the best MechWarrior game possible.
So firstly, do we know how long that exclusivity is?
It's a 1 year exclusive for this.
Okay,
that's
fine.
confirmed. Yeah.
I wonder. So does it also say here which amounts
it does
to
actually
$100?
say they're going to be doing refunds.
Okay, good.
Fans looking to obtain refunds for their pre-order or any tier are able to do so by September 1st. Pre-order refunds of any tier will be refunded in full. Additionally, those seeking refunds will be able to keep all bonus MechWarrior online content from the standard collectors and ultimate editions of the pre-order, which amount to $300 worth of in-game currency and content for Mech. Wow, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
Blah. However, refund and pre-order. Blah, blah. So this, it's unclear, by the way, if this pre-order refund thing is actually being funded by Epic Games or by these guys themselves. Well, because Epic did say recently that they are going to be funding the cost of refunds when a platform switch is made exclusively Epic.
Yeah, I do think that it was a big move. I know people are like, oh, that's the problem that Epic Games did make, but when Tim Sweeney did do that, it got a lot of people talking. Now, we haven't seen him come out again and say, look, I'm also going to be funding this. So we don't know if this is just an internal decision where they're like, hey, we know this is going to be a really shit move. This whole Epic Games thing's a dirty word now. Let's just kind of, put our best foot forward and make sure people know that they're going to get their money back if they don't want it. Yep. But this is becoming such a trend where, like...
I mean, I wouldn't say becoming such a trend.
No,
it's like...
in terms of Epic Games exclusive, especially, if they're crowdfunded or if they're just, games in general that people have been waiting for, where, people are literally now wondering, the basic... Am I getting my money back because you completely changed the goalposts?
Yeah, of course.
But, who knows?
It's disappointing. I do not believe that Epic will be successful in the long term with this strategy. I just feel like they're pissing absolutely everybody off along the way. They've hit critical mass of pissing people off.
Yeah.
And I just think the storefront they're trying to fight for just won't exist like that in the coming years when we're talking about cloud technologies, Xbox crossing the barriers between console and thing, cloud streaming, all that shit. Like these guys are saying, oh, we're going to make a new storefront. It's going to be the place where you buy your games. Sure. Like that's not a thing in 5 years' time, man. Come on now.
Yeah, I do think that you're right. I think that the only thing I will disagree with it, I do think that this is kind of working because, look, everyone hates Epic Games, fine. Everyone hates, what Tim Sweeney's doing at the moment. But the bottom line is, it is building their business. They've got people they don't want to, but they are reluctantly going to the Epic Games Store and using that platform because of the exclusive stuff. Now, do I think it's a long-term viable strategy? No. Do I think it's actually working for them at the moment? I sadly do think that,
I personally don't think so. I mean, look, Borderlands is going to be a big boost for these guys. The Epic Games Store is going to get a huge shot in the arm come Borderlands. And I guess that's a make or break moment for them. Because if a lot of people, don't buy that game because it's on Epic Games, which we know at least some people won't. I know a lot of people say they won't, but then they will. It's like that very famous Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 boycott where there was that Steam group set up. Have you ever seen this? It's so funny. It's like, it's a Steam group that was set up called like Boycott Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 because it didn't have dedicated servers on PC. And you can see all of the members of this group, right? And they're all playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 because you can see what they're playing right now on Steam, right? So obviously a lot of people aren't going to follow through on that, but a lot of people will follow through on it. And it's a question of how much will that impact Gearbox's bottom line. Will Epic hit their goals in terms of, number of people on their platform, etc.?
I do look at that, it's not going to be a thing, people. I reckon 5% of the people that say they won't buy it will actually not buy it. I know that might sound controversial, and some people in the comments will be like, no, I'm not going to buy it. When the game comes out, all your mates are playing it, it's being reviewed really well, and you want to jump on the hype train, a lot of those, like, I'm not doing it, people are like, oh, fuck it, I'm going to buy it. But the real make or break, I think, before we move on, is going to be like, is the Epic Games Store, like, with that huge influx of people, going to be able to even, like, maintain its goddamn servers? It'll be interesting to see other developers are going to be looking at this and going, how much is the Epic Games Store ready for a giant title to come out?
It's actually a very good point, because the next story that we've got covered is the fact that for, like, the third or fourth month in a row, the Epic Games Store has not been able to meet its targets for the implementation of new features, okay? So there's a roadmap out there for the Epic Games Store that talks about, hey, here's what we've coming down the pipeline, here are the new features you can expect. Just as a reminder, this is a really shit tier store. Like, there's almost no features on there whatsoever. Basic searching doesn't exist in that game. It's very, very difficult, They've got basic targets here, like search by genre and tag, not implemented yet.
Yeah.
They've got improvements to offline mode, store video hosting, so you can actually like have videos in your store pages. So when you're browsing, you can actually see videos of games. They need to do a redesign because the whole thing looks terrible. And improve DLC support. So when you're buying DLC on the Epic Games Store, it's actually really frustrating and tricky to do that right now. So again, this is about the third month in a row that they've managed to miss all of these deadlines. And this platform is still really shit tier. And I think that if I was Epic Games and I was really trying to combat the amount of hatred coming at us, the number one thing I would do is fix the fucking store and be like, guys, we've got all the features you can play. You know that spreadsheet of all the features of Steam versus Epic?
Sure.
I would just be like, man, we need to thunder through this shit. Like, throw hundreds of developers at it. Yeah. Get the fucking, people making Fortnite, get them working on this for a month and just, like, make the best store ever.
I agree with you. Like, they have, some of the... They have such a huge force of manpower at the moment in terms of They've got all this cash coming in still because they've got the most popular game in the world. Like, is it really hard to be like, okay, we're going to put a team on this and actually get this up and running within a month or two? It doesn't sound like, if it was a small indie dev, cool. But like, for me, it borderline is like, not even lazy. It's like, it's mean. It's kind of really mean, It's like you expect people to come and use this shitty platform, but and you're making people use it at the same time. You're not wanting to give them a good experience. And I know what Tim Sweeney said in terms of our game is not making sure that we make the best features, the best platform. Our end goal is to get everyone to our stores through exclusives. Fine, I get it, and that's your strategy. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't also put a lot of work and effort into, once you've got those people there, that they still have a good, enjoyable experience.
Yeah, for sure. So, okay, let's move on now. Nintendo! Now, remember how we said that the Joy-Con drift was an issue and there was like a class action lawsuit going down?
Yeah.
So basically, Joy-Con drift is when you sort of like, the controller stick becomes kind of soft and...
Everyone's had a Nintendo
flaccid.
64.
Sam, everyone's had a flaccid stick at some point in their life. Do you know what I mean?
I know.
So,
Ralph did that the first time. It didn't land. He went for a second time. Didn't land.
So the stick loses its
He's going for a third
bounce.
time. He's going for a third time.
And when that happens, it becomes very difficult to use it. When you're not touching it, then it just like your character's like moving in game or whatever. That's Joy-Con drift. Big problem with Nintendo Switch. A lot of people are complaining about this.
A lot of people. Look, I mean, I thought it might have just gone away, to be honest, but it sounds like there's enough. Yeah, I mean, okay, well, firstly, they are saying response. It is going to be fixed by Nintendo. That's the main thing here. They've come out and said that they are going to be fixing it.
On their website, there's a note saying, hey, click this link to get taken to some information about how we can fix this for you. And they'll basically fix it for free. So
I mean, I wonder how annoying this process is going to be. Please unscrew the controller and find the serial number inside, or some shit like that. It's going to be the worst.
Find your original receipts and the credit card that you bought it on. Yeah. Send us photocopies of both of those.
It's going to be like the whole Red Ring thing, and like they said, I'll send it back, and then like 8 weeks later, it comes back still broken. Like
Red Ring is the ultimate in like console catastrophe.
Yeah,
that was nuts. Because I worked in retail, by the way, when that was all going down, and just the sheer number of people that would come in every fucking day with a broken Xbox. I bought this Xbox from you, it's broken. What is it? Red rings. Oh, okay. How long ago did you buy it? 3 months. Sorry, mate, not my problem. You know what I mean? I gotta go to fucking Microsoft. I bought it from you. I'm like, mate,
that was so shit.
I just work here. I earn like $14 an hour. You know what I mean? Like, not my problem right now.
We had 2 Xboxes, 3 actually, because it happened to 2. It Red Ring twice.
That's right.
And the whole process of it's like, fuck that. I'm gonna go and buy another one then. Whatever.
It was so true. They would like exhaust you, and you'd be like, just buy another one. Yeah. Can't be bothered to do all that sending it in bullshit.
Microsoft uses Tire, it's super effective. It's like, fuck that.
So, okay, let's move on now. Hideo Kojima, he's been in the headlines
this
week.
The
cheeky little troll. Just a nice little troll from old mate Hideo.
Yes, and good old Young.
Kojima, by the way.
Yeah, he's got it on again. Young, covered this story again.
That's right, yes. So, Metal Gear director Hideo Kojima has been taking a straightforward military straightforward military thriller settings to the wildest places imaginable, blah, blah, blah. The main thing he said was that the easiest way to make money is to make a game where everyone is on an island trying to shoot each other. But I don't want to make that. So
look, I actually read that and I thought, that's a little like, I mean, I know it's a bit of a funny troll, but like, I don't know. Some people would have been like, there's nothing wrong with Battle Royale, man. Like,
I don't think he was actually legit having a go. Like,
I actually thought he was having a real dig.
He wasn't.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
He might have just been like, I'm Hideo Kojima. I do not want to make Battle Royale.
Nice accent, bro.
Worst Japanese accent ever. But you know what I mean?
That's racist.
That's a bit of it racist.
So racist.
But I really know. That's how I read it. I was just him just saying, him being slightly a bit like, you know what? I think this is trash to your game.
Kojima is a dude, right? And he's just having he's got a cheeky smirk on his face when he says
this. I hope so.
Come on, as if he's having a go at the Battle
I thought he was just like, look, this is trash tier gaming, and I just want to quickly call this out. I mean, I don't know. That's how I read it, You're
trash tier gaming.
I know I am trash tier gaming. But like, look, also, people in the comment section, did anyone else read this and go, okay, is that the angle he's going? But,
if he was really angry, he'd make comments about like Konami and Pachinko. The easiest way to make money is to take my amazing franchise that I built over 30 years of my life and then make Pachinko out of it.
Yeah.
That's the burn I would want to see from Kojima. Like, that'd be cool.
Good.
So
Is that all we have on that story? Well,
that's all we have on that story. That was a real big one, guys. We'll put that on the thumbnail. It was so big,
Bataroo. That is perfect. Bataroo.
This stream is getting demonetized.
We're gonna get exposed.
It's gonna be a Polygon article on this stream for sure. Okay, so Gears 5 hero characters can be earned or bought with real money. Now,
this is a full price game, right?
This is a full-price first-party game. Now, okay, let's just read this. Coalition is trying a new form of versus multiplayer in Gears 5 arcade mode. It's basically normal deathmatch with a hero shooter twist. Each hero character has unique loadouts that specialize in different playstyles, but Gear 5 players won't have every new hero automatically unlocked. They have to be earned in-game or bought with premium iron currency.
Yeah.
It's like the gold bars or platinum or iron.
Yeah.
In an interview with GameSpot multiplayer designer Ryan Clevin broke down Gears 5's monetary structure, which ditches random loot boxes in favor of a more transparent marketplace. The new structure is built to respect player choice, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Earnable items are not purchasable, purchasable items are not earnable, and free items are only free.
I love how that doesn't make sense. Free items are only free. I mean, they're free.
But purchasable items are not earnable, so that's somehow respecting player choice.
I know.
So
look, I just quickly okay, so we've spoken about Xbox many times. I've got Xbox pants on right now, people, okay?
That's how much of it. They sent us to Xbox. We're fully
shilled
juiced into the shill mode, engaged Xbox. But this is garbage.
And it's really such a shame because they're in such a bad state right now. Like, they do not need to. And look, everyone, like, the community has made it very clear that they're not a fan of single player games, especially first party. My God, that has microtransactions in it. It's a full price game.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think that this is going to help their brand at all. And at the moment, they need any win they can get. They've got Project Scarlet in the way. This is going to come out. A lot of people are going to line up for this. We're going to review it. A lot of people are going to review it. And the first thing we're going to talk about, sadly, is, hey, why the fuck is a full price game from first party including microtransactions? It's like, dude.
I agree with that.
You know, it's so shitty. It's so shitty.
So first of all, Jimmy Bish, thank you very much. I haven't played Fire
Jimmy
Emblem
Bish.
yet. I'd like to. Everyone says it's fantastic. And
Yeah,
Dark
me
Wake, thank you very much, my dude.
I love Sexy Sam and Racist Ralph.
Right. Can I also be sexy?
No. It's usually Sexist Sam and Racist Ralph. That's okay.
So on this, I think there's a specific angle that I would personally take if I was them, which is to say, this is a first-party title, right? This is designed to sell consoles, and I really think that you don't need microtransactions in a game that is a first-party console seller, right? You just want to have that game be so fucking good that people love it so much that they just want to, like, buy a console so they can play it. And I just don't understand why Microsoft, who could fund the ongoing live service maintenance costs of this game
forever,
would choose to go down the microtransaction route, where they could just say, guys, we're going to continue to add new content entirely for free. That's it. It's all there at the start. Plus, we're going to do more, free of charge. Why I understand if you're a third-party developer. Let's say you're Ubisoft, right? They go full balls deep on the microtransaction side of things. Don't get me wrong. But, like, they're maintaining live service games. I understand why Rainbow Six Siege has microtransactions, because it's a game that's been around for many years, and that's how they sustain the development and add new content, whatever else.
Sure.
But you've got Microsoft here. They're the ones that can fund this. Why are we having microtransactions in this game?
Yeah, I mean, I just think that, at the moment, they are in a rebranding stage. It's like a lot of people have lost confidence in Microsoft in general in terms of the IP that they're putting forward and their position in power in the gaming industry. They're not the top dog like they were with the 360.
Yeah.
And we look at this and it's like, and we played it, and let's be real, like, I wasn't wrapped in it. Like, if this was a 10 out of 10 game, even then I wouldn't be like, why are you putting microtransactions? But what I'm saying is, I don't think this is going to particularly review excellently, and I don't think that it's really going to help that there's heavy amounts of microtransactions in here.
Yeah.
And, like, I
wouldn't say heavy amounts. I mean, we don't know how heavy it is.
Sure,
from what they've described, it makes sense to put that sort of model in a game like this. Except when it's a first-party title.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Like,
and
I
that's
look
why
at this
I think you don't need
and I go, is this a scary blueprint for exclusives? Oh, sorry, first-party titles for Xbox in the future? Are they really testing this?
Well, no, they did this with Halo as well. Like other games, their first-party stuff did too. All of their games, their first-party stuff have microtransactions.
Well, I mean,
Forza, Halo, Gears,
but no, wait. Was
Sea of Thieves.
Was Halo 5 in single player, only multiplayer was at microtransactions.
Yes, correct. With their like what
With
are they
the single
called?
player?
No, multiplayer.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So okay, okay,
this
fine.
is multiplayer as well.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Well, I hope this is not a continuing thing because they really need to look at PlayStation and go, this is what they do with Spider-Man or they do with God of War. They just give you an awesome game and that speaks for itself and it sells consoles.
To be fair, those games are single-player finite games. They're not live service games, and live service games do have ongoing costs. But all I'm saying is that I think if you're trying to rebuild your brand and you're trying to sell consoles, you should absorb those live service costs and offer the customer just like the best fucking game, no costs, no extra shit. That's all.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's keep moving. Speaking of live service stuff, what the hell?
What is that?
God, look at all these ads and shit.
God.
Marvel Avengers devs talk endgame content monetization, gigantic villains, and more. I think there's a real problem with the Avengers game right now in the sense that they won't shut the fuck up about the whole live service and monetization thing.
Yeah.
We haven't even seen the gameplay yet. Or we have a scene we've seen it at E3, by the way.
Yeah, and it looks fantastic, okay?
I mean, it looks pretty solid. I think it looks
fantastic for an Avengers superhero game. I love the idea.
I just think it's so dumb how in the very first reveal of that game, they started talking about live service and monetization. Now we've got more interviews that talk about live service and monetization, and we still have not seen gameplay yet. It feels like the ultimate cart before the horse sort of thing. It really feels like they have bungled the reveal of this game so spectacularly, and stuff like this is like, that's it. Now, in terms of what he said, he was basically like, oh yeah, what he said, monetization. I actually had the quote somewhere here. I think I copied it down. But basically he said that, yeah, you're going to be able to customize your heroes, with stuff to make them yours. So we can guess that it's cosmetics.
Sure.
They also talked about the fact they're adding new Avengers over time, which means that we can probably expect the Avengers themselves to cost money. So
sure, look, I mean,
Hawkeye will cost you some dollary dues.
Yeah, and look, I think that kind of ties in with the whole live service. Like if they're creating a really solid product, and they need to continue that product in the next, and they have a trajectory of 5 or 10 years, I can understand how they want to monetize that if it's done fairly, right? But you're right. I mean, the general consumer has still not seen what this game is, and they're getting told how it's going to cost them. Like it shouldn't be that. It should be, look at how great this game looks. We'll talk about later how we might need to continue to monetize this, but really we want to show you the value that we're putting forward before we talk about what we might need back from you in the future.
For sure.
And that's what they're not doing. And I think that's actually I don't think I've ever seen a game that does this. Have you ever seen a game that comes out, doesn't show
any gameplay,
doesn't show anything, right? And then it's like, hey, by the way, let's talk in depth about our monetization structure.
I've not seen that.
Really
personally.
strange,
Again, really.
It does not work.
It's not very smart. So.
And look, after we walked out, I know we said this in a previous episode, but it's worth mentioning. When we actually walked out, we spoke to one of their representatives. We're like, dude, you guys are like mad for not showing that, and he kind of also shared that. He was like, yeah, I know, we really should show this,
Yeah.
So I think internally also there might be a bit of a tussle between like.
No. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Anyway,
I mean, there could be that internal struggle between like, hey, I'm sure the developers want to like get more word out about their awesome game they've made, but I'm sure there's also some like corporate PR strategy that's like, hey, let's hold this back and do all this sort of stuff. I just hope the devs win out in that because that kind of struggle would be frustrating. So,
yeah, definitely.
Next, so let's now move on to. Did you just clap into the mic again?
Oh, sorry, guys.
Nice. Let's go talk about the fact Wolfenstein. Let's talk about Wolfenstein for a bit, okay? So Wolfenstein is out. I'm playing it on stream at the moment on twitch.tv/skillup.yt.
It looks terrible.
So TLDR, actually we'll come back to the review roundup later, but there are microtransactions in that game. They're kind of like baked very deeply into the menu. So every time you look at anything in that game, like the skins that you can put on, weapon skins or whatever, it always lists like the free price that you could like grind for, as well as the earned price. Or sorry, the premium price where you actually like, paying real dollary dues.
Yeah.
And the good news is that someone's figured out a way to get past that using Cheat Engine. Now, I have no problem with people doing that. Like, I'm really glad that people have found a way to sidestep bullshit microtransactions in single-player games. Do you know what I mean?
And some people are saying, well, it's not a full-price game. I mean, like, it's $10 off a full-price game, people. It's $50 here, and you can usually get a game these days in Australia for $60. So it's pretty close to being a full-price game. But
so yeah, there you go. If you want to get Wolfenstein, you want to sidestep all the bullshit and just unlock all the skins, then you can do that. It's up to you. As I said, I'm okay with that. I'm perfectly fine with that.
I'm okay with that. And we love Bethesda. You guys know that.
we love Bethesda. Yeah, we're big fans. So let's talk about Wolfenstein review roundup, right? So this has come back very, very mixed response. And I think sort of more siding on the negative than the positive. ACG, who many of you will know, good friend of mine, great reviewer. He says, wait for sale. Had a lot of problems with the game. We're seeing a lot of 3.5 stars, 69.
Okay? That's what they gave it.
So, Destructoid, maybe I just expected too much, but I find myself missing the careful balance of story and gameplay that the New Order had down pat. Youngblood makes plenty of strides forward towards in the series, but it also takes some steps backward that end up hurting the overall package. You are seeing some higher reviews. This Fossetti, the supplementary episode recovers the typical gunplay of the series. Look with interest at the structure of the new Colossus, but add some ingredients to weigh the formula. What else? GameSpot, 8 out of 10. The Blazkowicz sisters steal the show in a bite-sized comparative spin-off. Look, that's just not true, by the way. I'm playing that game now. You can say many things about that game that you might like, but the Blazkowicz sisters steal the show is not one of it. The writing is super cringe. Holy shit. IGN Dan Stapleton, who's the head of reviews, said Youngblood is aggressively okay, but it doesn't come close to recapturing the joy of its predecessor.
Look, I thoroughly enjoyed Wolfenstein 2017.
I enjoyed the last
I thought
Wolfenstein.
It was fantastic. I know some people didn't think it was great. I really thoroughly thought what they did with that game, weapon mechanics, the story, I just loved it. I just thought it was so good. So I'm actually jumping on this today and tomorrow, and we're looking to do our review, or impressions at least, or maybe review if we actually get a chance to fully finish it this weekend, on Monday. But
as I said, I'm playing through at the moment. I think the writing is absurdly bad. Like, I just cannot believe that how they've structured this. And it's not just about the sisters, even though... Because basically, like, it's two sisters, and they're always, like, roasting each other. And I'm like, listen, as someone who makes a living from roasting my brother, like, that's not how you do it.
You know what I mean?
It's so cringe. It's so fake. Like, siblings do not talk like that. Plus, it's got this, like, faux 1980s thing going on. Like, whoa, you totally slayed him, dude. Whoa.
God,
it's like...
horrendous.
It's
I'm jumping on today, so hopefully I do enjoy it. But, like, this really ties into, like... I was wondering why I wasn't hearing anything about this game.
There's no marketing for this game.
There's no marketing about this game, and I really think that we're seeing a trend, right? Maybe in the last couple of years, maybe I just haven't picked it up, but especially like lately, you don't see a lot about a game that I think the developer or the publisher doesn't think is going to go too well. Like Rage 2.
Yeah, Rage 2, they really pulled back
Bethesda
on
at
marketing
least.
well.
But I think Bethesda is setting a trend where they will not promote a game heavily if they do not believe in it. They just... I did not see a single Wolfenstein thing. When Rage 2 came out, I only remembered because, we do videos about it. Like, I think the average gamer was not just, like, bombarded with marketing like a lot of games. Like Destiny 2, for instance. Sure, that game sucked, whatever, at the start. But there was so much marketing behind that.
Yeah.
A lot of games come out and make sure that everywhere you look, you see that the game's coming out. We're not seeing this with Wolfenstein. We didn't see it with Rage 2.
Agreed. So, look, that's it. As I said, I'm going to be playing it literally today, like an hour and a half from now. I'm going to go to the gym after this, and then an hour and a half from now, I'm going live on Twitch, playing through the game.
I'll put in the link in the description when we actually send this live, our Twitches.
And Twitch, Nitro, you can put a link to Twitch as well for us, please. Thank you. Love you, mate. You're the best.
Love you, brah.
And look, that's pretty much the news roundup for the week.
We might do Doom during the week then.
There wasn't really that much to talk about with the Bethesda keynote this time around.
Look,
I think that's also, interestingly enough, the kind of the story in itself. There wasn't a lot of reveals within that keynote.
In reality, I mean, we did see some...
This is from QuakeCon, by the way.
Yeah, sorry. Well, DoomCon. It's called DoomCon, of course.
Yeah, that's
right. I mean, I was surprised to see that it was a very heavy emphasis on the multiplayer side. We did see one or two more enemies. We saw, in terms of the actual campaign, extra enemies that you might be fighting. But, I was surprised to see such a heavy emphasis on just that one game mode, that it was going to be the Slayer versus the two,
monsters
or demons. I was expecting to see a little bit more, maybe a little bit more revealed in the campaign, a bit more, concept art or just ideas in general that they wanted to put forward to the audience to get us ready for what to expect for Doom Eternal, but I didn't really see that,
Yeah, that's it. I mean, we'll see. We'll come back to it and we'll have a really good deep dive into it to see if there's anything worth bringing up this week. I did see, by the way, that Forsen quit playing after 30 minutes of Wolfenstein. I had to stop playing after about 3 or 4 hours because I was so triggered by it.
Really?
Yeah, I actually had to stop. I was like, I was like getting so mad. I was like, I'm not being best right now. I'm not being best. So I need to get off the stream. And I was just like, no, thank you, because it is a very frustrating game to play through. Anyway, guys,
early one today.
It is an early one today, but
we covered a lot of news.
There was a lot of chunky news in there, so there was actually a lot of news that we covered this week. I think we had a video every single day.
Yeah, we did. There's not a
Because
single day that
there
we
was just stuff to talk about. So we love those weeks. Thank you very much for sticking around, guys. Don't forget to hit the like button on the video because we live in a like-based economy, and our entire sense of self is propped up by the number of likes that we get.
Yes.
So without that, we're going to be very sad.
Yep.
Tune in next week for more Le Mans news. Follow us on Twitch. I'm starting Stormblood this week on Final Fantasy 14, the second newest expansion.
Second newest.
Stick around for that. Someone called that on my Twitter. They're like, it's an Asian pedo game.
What?
And I'm like, what? I don't know what
What
the
hell?
that is. So weird. Anyway, guys, thank you very much.
Thanks
we
so
love
much.
you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you, Nitro, for modding our stream. As usual, you're amazing. And we'll see you.
And thank you for all the donations.
Yes.
We really do thoroughly appreciate that. It makes doing the Laymen live show all that much better. Appreciate you. I will see you guys on Monday, probably.
Young out.